Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, we'll be making this beautiful, amazing balcony railing table. This is very simple to make. It's perfect if you have limited space. It's perfect for people who stay in apartments. It's great for when you're working outside or when you're having a braai or you just want fresh air outside. So this is a beautiful build. So please do try it and enjoy the build. This balcony railing table is a showstopper. This is convenient. This is beautiful. Your friends will love you for this. Your families will love you for this. You will love you for this. So please do try this project. It's easy to make and enjoy this project. Here's the tools and the materials that I use for this build. Get pumped up and let's get ready to build. For your balcony table, you need your base, which is about 1000 millimeter long. You need the small cuts, which is about 286 meter long, and the bigger ones, which is about 600 millimeters long, and the long ones, which would be the back and the front, which is about 1000 millimeter long as well. Once you've gathered all your wood cuts, it's time to assemble everything and just to put everything together. The first thing that I did was just to put the base, which is the first part, and then put markings around every single corner of the base. So basically the reason we do the markings is just to enable us to be able to be accurate when it comes to the process of pre-drilling. So I don't want to make mistakes and pre-drill at the wrong side. So if you put markings at the length of your wood cut, it will help you so much when you're pre-drilling. Now coming to my favorite part, which is pre-drilling. I think this is the best innovation ever. So what I did was just to pre-drill throughout the corners on where I did my markings. So the drill bit that I'm using has a function of a countersink. So by countersink, I mean it gives me an opportunity that when my screw sits on the wood, it gives space so that I'm able to put in wood filler. So the next phase is just to put everything together. So what I did was just to make sure that I put wood glue before I I drill everything. Then put enough wood glue. There's no rule of thumb when it comes to glue. So just go crazy on it. Not too crazy, but just enough is fine. So just make sure that the two mating surfaces are straight line, and then just prepare to use your screws and then screw everything together. So I'm using my 20 millimeter screws. So this is the perfect size, and then it will also give me an opportunity that both wood cuts will be tight and secure. So another thing you must consider when you're doing this process, just note that your screws must go down deep, and then there must be an opening where you allow to put wood filler, because that's your top surface, so you don't want any screws to show. But if you want the screws to show, you can leave the screws, but I didn't want any screws to show. So basically you have to repeat the same process using the longer length cuts. So this is your 1000 millimeter cuts. So you repeat both in the back and the front. So ideally always put something at the bottom in order to give you a bit of support so that you're able to have something which is straight and not skewed. If you have any questions that you need a bit of clarity on, please leave the comments on the comment section, and then I'll be able to address every single question. So the perfect way of doing this is just to make sure that you start right at the edges. So it's always ideal to start at the edges because it will just hold everything together, and then everything will be tight and secure. Then you can go walk your way into the middle. So the next phase is just to put the smaller pieces together, which is your 286 millimeters. During this process, I realized that I put too much glue. Remember when I said you can put too much and then you can just clean it out? So I just realized, let me just clean it out before everything dries out. So please do this process if you have any spillage of glue. So we're going to repeat the same steps, and then just to put all the joints together, and then put on wood glue, enough wood glue, and then also make sure that you pre-drill your wood cuts as well. And the next thing that you must also note as well is that if you have clamps, please have them ready so that you're able to clamp down everything, because I realized when the my wood cuts were being cut, they were just about 1 millimeter off center. So I needed to squeeze it tight in order to make sure that everything was tight and secure. You'll notice that I always use the old man's trick, which is just pressing down with my elbow. Use that. If you have clamps, use them as well, but if you need to have something quick, just press down with your elbow or your foot or whatever is convenient. So when I was putting the smaller pieces, I needed to put so much pressure using my clamps to make sure that everything was tight and in a straight line position. Considering that I had a bit of a 1 millimeter off center on my wood cuts. So don't worry about it. I've adjusted the measurements onto the wood cuts measurement that I'm going to put on the description box. So repeat this process on both sides, and then just make sure that you put enough wood screws in order to cover both joints on both sides of the balcony railing table. So this next step is very important. So with this process, we're going to put the two pieces together that are going to hold your balcony rail and also your tabletop. So what you need to do is just to measure the width and also the height of your balcony rail, and then just get that distance, and then it will guide you in order to put the two pieces together so that it can hold tight and secure. So the width of my balcony rail is about 40 millimeters. So what I needed to do was just to measure the distance between the two lumbers and make sure that they were 40 millimeters in exact. So it will give me a bit of room in order for my tabletop to be tight and secure so that it mustn't fall over. So the best advice I can give you during this phase is that just take your time. Don't rush it. Make sure that your markings are accurate, because you will struggle if your markings are not accurate. So just take your time, take it slowly. Make sure you're satisfied with where the center is and where everything is done. After I was satisfied with the markings, so what I did was just to prepare for pre-drilling. I pre-drill my wood cuts and make sure that I put enough holes where I was going to put my screws together. So the next phase is just to put wood glue between where I draw my lines. So it will just be a mirror image of where I'm intending on putting my wood cut. So put enough wood glue and then just put your wood cuts where you've drawn your lines. If you're intending on trying this project, please do tell me in the comment section. They just let me know how pumped up and how excited you are about this DIY project. So this is the moment where I wanted to quit. So yes, I do have moments where I want to quit. I struggled a lot during this phase, so that's why I said please take your time. I struggled to move around my wood lumbers. I had no idea what I was doing. I just wanted to make sure that the wood cuts were dry. So I struggled, I tried, I failed, and then I tried again until I managed to have everything all together. So if you have a different option on how to flip this, please do try it. Use clamps. I struggled to use the clamps. I didn't know how to clamp everything, but at the end of the day I managed to just flip the table together in order for me to put the screws on. So after I managed to put the support structures legs at the bottom, so what I did was just to put screws together on everything. So the trick here is just to make sure that the opening on the pre-drilling holes is enough for you to push down the screw so that your screws must not show at the top, because this is your tabletop. So this is visible to the human eye. So this is the first eye contact. So just make sure that everything is tight and secure at the bottom. So don't worry too much about how many screws to put in. Don't have a set number. So if you're happy with how tight the joint is, then you can move forward to the next application. So there's no set number of how many screws to do. Just have a gut feel and just say this is tight enough, so now I can move on to the next one. So the next phase, I applied my wood filler. So wood filler basically just covers all your holes and everything. So I use a natural color. So the trick with the wood filler is that just make sure that the color that you chose for a wood filler, there's very different colors. You have your black, you have your natural color, you have your white. It's matching with the color of your stain or your paint. So if you don't match the colors up, your final wood product is gonna look a bit funny, or a bit off rather. So after applying your wood filler, just wait a sufficient time as per the manufacturer's instruction, and then wait until it's fully dry. Then you can just move on to the next phase, which is just painting or staining your project. So what I did here was just to scrape through the hard particles, because I left it to dry for a long time. So I just using my scraper to just scrape through the top part of the wood filler before I can sand everything down. So I'm using a 180 grit sanding paper, and then just to sand down everything until it's fine and smooth. So remember, we need to protect ourselves when you're doing DIY projects. Make sure that you're covered up with your glasses, with your mask, because there's a lot of particles flying around, so you don't want any problems with your eyes. The next thing that I did was just to stain down my railing table. The stain that I use is a walnut stain. It was very quick to dry, so I needed to act really fast and make sure that every surface is covered up. I love how this color is looking. It's very nice, it's very delicate. It goes out hand in hand with the decor that I chose. And just a heads up, when you staining or painting your railing table, what I suggest that you do is just the bottom support legs or the base. What I suggest that you do is just paint them prior to you putting everything together, because you don't want to struggle. I love how the final product looks like. It's beautiful. You can paint this, you can stain it. So this is very refreshing. I have to be honest, this is by far one of my favorite innovative projects that I've ever done. I love how this project turned out. It's great if you have you stay in an apartment and then you just want an extra boost. If you're chilling and you're hosting your friends and your family, or you just want to work outside and you want a bit of a breather. So please do try this project and tell me how it turns out. And until next time, see you. Cheers.